I'm Lauren with Pack Hacker, and in this video we're taking a detailed look at the Peak Design Roller Pro carry-on, which I've been testing for the last 2 weeks. Let's dive in. While this is technically hard-sided luggage, it's kind of like a hybrid between the two. So the entire outside of this is coated with it's like the exterior is their VersaShell fabric. I'll bring it closer up so you can see. So it's a very like sleek, it's got kind of like a matte look or a matte finish to it. And then the actual shell itself is a polycarbonate shell, but then between this like VersaShell fabric on the outside and the polycarbonate, there's actually like a little bit of like a foam padding. So when you squish down on this, it looks like the material is like stiff and just moving, but I can also feel like a little bit of padding there. So this adds to that durability factor. So not only do you have the protection of that polycarbonate exterior, you also have a little bit of cushion on top of that, and it can help with preventing breaks and things like that, you know, when they're throwing around your luggage. So the actual size of this thing is pretty on par with a lot of carry-on dimensions for like top US airlines, like Delta, American Airlines, Frontier, Spirit. This all fits those carry-on dimensions. So we do have the full compliance on our site, but I would say it's pretty average in terms of size. It's a little bit on the heavier side though. So this is almost 9 pounds. I think if weight is something that you're really considering, then maybe stay away from this one. However, I do think what's nice about this is because it is so protective. If you are someone who's traveling with camera gear, they definitely kept that in mind when designing this bag, even when it comes to the features itself, which we'll get into once we get like more inside the bag. There's a lot packed in here. But in terms of build quality, Peak Design just really nails that every time. We do, in terms of like hardware, we have their zippers and their general hardware, like their in-house stuff. In terms of lockability here, we have this like front zippered pocket. The zipper you can feed through this little loop, and then you line it up with the main compartment loops, and then you just feed a lock through like all of these together, and then these will like lock in place. Like you like lock it here and then lock it, you know what I mean? You kind of combine them. And then that allows you to make it so that like the zipper won't move or anything like that. We also have their in-house designed wheels. So these are 360 wheels. They call them Smooth Glide caster wheels. And they actually, I would say these are probably one of, if not the smoothest we've tested. They feel very much like the Hinomoto wheels, which are the ones that like top brands like a bunch of top brands will use them, and those are pretty much like top of the line, so they feel very similar to that. And then on the back here we have some of these like kick plate protectors. So this is so if you're like dragging it up a flight of stairs, which obviously you can see I did. I tested that a couple of different times just because I wanted to see how it would do. And it didn't really like muck up the back of this here. This also makes it so that when you flip this thing over, it lays completely flat on the table, so that, you know, it's like a better packing experience. With these wheels as well, they're like about as far out as it can possibly go. So if you're doing this for like carry-on dimensions, you will probably, if you're putting it in that like little tester thing, you're probably gonna have to like change the configuration of the wheels to make it fit. But that is included, like the wheels and everything is included in that, the full dimensions. They're a little bit mucky because it's winter here and it's getting a little bit crazy outside. The zippers too, I did have an issue with this specific zipper track on the outside of the main compartment, but this is a pre-production sample, and that we see this like sometimes with bags that we get early and test early, is that there are very, very small issues with some certain features. And this is one of them. You can tell that it's just almost the way that it's stitched on, like it's not just like very flat. And then on the other side, like that's how it's supposed to look. And this one functioned perfectly fine every time I used it. So I could tell it was just the way the zipper track was. So in the production designs, that will theoretically be fixed. So that was really the only issue that I had with the external features there. We also have the carry handles. These have a little bit of foam padding on the inside. They're very comfortable. They stay flush to the bag when you're not using them. We also have gear carry loops all around the bag, which I'll talk about in a bit. So you do have a few options for like external carry, but we've got the side carry handle, this carry handle, and then we've got one on the other side, which is also where we have attached the luggage tag. This comes with as well, and it just opens nice and flat. You can put all your information in there, and then you just close it back up when you're done. This is like a Hypalon material, and it's the same width as that handle, so it all feels and looks very, very sleek, which is nice. Last thing we have on the outside here is the telescoping handle. So this is up here. It's a very like nice, this is like haptic feedback kind of like button here, very satisfying to click. But what makes it unique is actually the carbon fiber design. So this sort of pattern is very familiar if you're familiar with carbon fiber. But what's so interesting about it is how flat it is. So this is honestly the only bag that I've seen with this design. I'd be interested to see if anybody, leave a comment if you've seen a bag with a similar, telescoping handle like this. But I've never seen one this thin, at least at this point with all the ones that we've tested. And what's nice is that I think the biggest benefit I saw was the availability of like how it impacted packing space on the inside in a positive way. So I'll show you that. It does have 2 adjustment points, which I'll show you in a second. I did find it to be a little bit sticky when we got to like the very, very end here. It didn't really come out nicely, but it wasn't enough of a bother that I would consider that like a tick against this bag. I think it's just something to keep in mind. And then with the carry handle, we actually also have one that I forgot about down here, and that helps you move it pretty easily from side to side. This is the highest height adjustment for the carry or the telescoping handle. So I'm 5'6". I have a couple inch heels on right now, but this was comfortable enough. But the second actually adjustment, where are you? Sometimes it took me a hot minute to find it. There it goes. Okay, so once I got that into place, this one was actually the most comfortable for me. So it moves really smoothly back and forth. Like I said, the wheels are really nice. You can do 4 wheels or you can do 2 wheels. I tested this on pavement, on cobblestone, on grass, on pretty much everything. And when the bag is heavy, which is when it's packed, it glides super smooth. So I had no issues with like anything basically on this. It was just really the fact that like when I wanted to pull it to that top height adjustment, it feels like it's giving a little bit of resistance. And then with the telescoping handle, getting it into certain height positions, sometimes I felt like I struggled a bit, but once it clicked in, it was fine. If you're finding this video helpful, hit subscribe so we can keep making content to help you travel smarter. So with the external features, like I mentioned, we have these gear loops. So I'll start with this as kind of like an extra storage space. So this actually comes with 2 of their gear loops, and you cow hitch them to one side here, and then you hook them to the other. They're super easy to like put on, take off. And then what you would do is you could attach like you can do a camera tripod here or something like that if you wanted to attach quite literally anything, honestly, whatever strikes your fancy, and then you can just tighten that up. But these are actually also compatible with any of their flat hooks or their external carry straps. So we've got the 4 here, and then we also have them on either side in these places too. So you can really customize how you want to give yourself a little bit of extra storage space, which I think is really cool, that they're getting, that they're always so good with that external carry, and they found a way to integrate it into their luggage as well. So that's pretty sweet. As for other secondary compartments, we just have this front compartment here. So when you open this up, you actually just use that front zipper, and then this pulls forward, and you can see that there are 2 pockets here. And then there's actually this flap, which has magnets that reveals the laptop compartment. So this is sized up for up to a 16-inch device. And then there's this lid here to where you'll see it like when I open the bag, sometimes it could theoretically like fall forward. This is designed to catch your device if you ever have that issue. I never had an issue where it actually I needed that feature, but I did test the feature just in case, and it works great. So that's nice. And then every time this is kind of like its default positioning, right? Is like with this pulls forward. So if you have this luggage this way and you just open this compartment, you're always gonna get to these pockets first. So these are really nice for, you can put your passport in here, your wallet, really anything if you don't have a sling or something that you're also traveling with. I just honestly use this for my tech. So I put the just kind of Apple brick that I have at home, I put that in there. I put a cable in there, and then I also put my AirPods, and this is also a key leash in here as well. So I forgot to put my keys on this, but this could also be a good spot to store your keys. There's also it doesn't go all the way down, so this prevents any gear from falling, basically the depth of this pocket. So you can stick additional items here, like what if I didn't have space for my AirPods, they can just kind of go in there. So that's really nice. This is a very, very stretchy material. So what you'll find throughout this bag is that it's very much designed so that all of the storage that you have doesn't like fight each other. It's a very smartly designed interior, so we'll look at that in a second. But this is kind of that first taste of it, right? Where like this compartment is very much designed to lay flat as flat as possible until you need that space, and then it can kind of work with whatever size gear you have. So I thought that this was nice. It was a nice addition to have some extra storage space on the outside, but if you don't end up needing it, you can use it for quite literally anything else. But it's a pretty solid addition, and my device felt pretty safe in here regardless of where I was going. This bag as it currently stands is 34 liters, but it can expand up to 39. So the expansion zipper is pretty subtle. It's on this side here, and it just zips all along the bag. So I'm actually just gonna unzip it now so you can get an idea of what it even looks like. It just adds a decent amount of storage on the inside. I would say with the way that this bag is designed, I could get easily a week plus of gear in here. If you pack smart and you do like a capsule wardrobe, you can get easily 2 weeks of gear in this thing, just the way that things are and how it's how much extra space you have in there. But if you needed to utilize this extra bit here, it does unzip very, very easily. It feels very secure. And just keep in mind though that it's going to impact the depth, because the depth measurements are based off of if you don't have the expansion zipper. So that could impact carry-on compliance. So worth noting. This though, very straightforward in terms of like a compression zipper design. With the actual main compartment here, I'm going to leave this open actually, but with the main compartment design, this is like a dual zipper, and it actually goes all the way down here. And this is the side that was always kind of wonky for me, I think. Yeah, it was the side that was always wonky for me. But if you go and you just unzip it like this, the bag opens fully and you get a full look at everything on the inside. So with this compression zipper, you can see, let me pull it actually a little to the side. You can see that's where all of that extra space comes in. If you don't have the compression zipper undone, then that's the space that you technically lose. I'm gonna zip it up now that I have shown you that. I never really found myself needing it because, like I said, it was so spacious. So I think to address the elephant in the room here, this is like their drawbridge design. That's what they call their drawbridge design. So the way that this is, it's not technically like a clamshell, because it's like a hybrid, I would say, between like a clamshell and like a lid opening. What I like about it is that when it opens here, it feels very secure. There's like these, I don't know, kind of like mechanisms here that are like plasticky feeling, and it keeps the lid from falling all over the place. So I have this like lean back. You can adjust the length of these. Like you would do this and then you would feed it through here a little bit differently, and it can make it like fall back further or closer. You can kind of like decide what angle you want it at. But I found that the way that they sent it to us was like a really nice, just kind of default. It just felt very clean. But if you wanted to, you could remove these. So for the sake of packing in this video, I'm going to remove these, and then you just easily unhook them, and then you can get full access to the main compartment this way. You can also remove them fully from here, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to put them off to the side. So for everything else we've got going on in here, I'll kind of look at this lid first. So the lid design, all of these pockets are very, very flat until you start packing them with gear. So I've got some stains around here. I think this is just by nature of me, like they didn't come like that. But we've got these individual pockets. So this is mostly where I put like socks and underwear and stuff. Like I had socks in there. Yeah, I have, you know, a couple of like sports bra type things in there. And then I've got some underwear up here. You can also, if you wanted to, like that was when I was going on a shorts trip, I did that. If you wanted to put it in a cube, you can do it in here and then use this for like tiny accessories. Like if you have, I don't know, if you have like speakers or something like that, you can really use this for whatever you want. This is also a puncture resistant material. So if you do utilize their camera cube on this side, which I'll talk about in a second, then you don't have to worry about whatever's in here like poking through and potentially damaging stuff. So that I think is also a nice like clever design. This also unzips fully. And this is where you kind of get a look at the back side of these individual pockets. So you can see like how flat that is when nothing's in there. But as you start to load gear, it starts to get full. Let me actually just shove these in here so you can get an idea of what that looks like. it starts to become rounded, but it rounds out towards towards this side versus rounding out that way, which means that you're not cutting into space here. So if you have flatter items in here, you have a little bit more space back here to work with for other gear, or you can round this out with, you know, items like this and then leave this space generally open. So that's kind of what I did. What I liked about that was that I can kind of customize what kind of gear I was packing and what my packing experience was like. Or if you want to, actually, you can fully roll this up, and this gets like placed right down here. And there's another little clippy. You will see many of these clippies throughout that help roll this down, keeps it out of the way, and you can actually just utilize this extra space just in the main compartment. So you have like a little bit more vertical packing space to work with. These two pockets up here are actually from this front compartment, so when you have gear in here, they can like start to pack out as well. And then underneath there is a hidden pocket, and that's a good spot for like a passport if you want to hide your passport in there. It's just like a hook and loop closure that keeps it shut. And then over here we have an AirTag pocket, so if you wanted to keep that, you know, keep a tracker in there, you can definitely do that. So that's that side, pretty straightforward, just a lot of like smart organization, I would say, which is like definitely the perk of this bag, what they do really, really well. On this side, we have tie-down straps. So these ones are also those clips, and they're on elastic, so you can kind of customize how it looks. So I had those here, but you can also do it where you can pull it from either side here, and you can just clip it like that in just like one simple clip. You could go diagonally this way for some reason if you're feeling crazy. You know, you can really customize it. These also, they are like snapped on, and you can't move them. They are hooked on with like the loops here, or like they're fed through the loops, but you can unclip them and like move them around. So you have some customization there. I'm gonna take out in here, like I said, about a week plus worth of gear easily. I've got some packing cubes. It fits with the Peak Design packing cubes, which we love, but these ones we already keep packed up with clothing. And then with the shoes, these are a size men 10.5 shoes, and those fit in there easily with some room to spare. So with the inside of this, this is where you kind of get an idea of how much space you save with that telescoping handle, because it's compression molded down here. It's like a recycled material compression molding. And what's nice about that is you can see like how much space you're actually saving, because a lot of other rolling luggage handles will come out more like to here, and you just really lose a ton of space. So I like that. It was a very nice packing experience in general. And then here you get a better kind of look at that sort of like elastic situation here. And then on the sides here, we also have gear loops for camera cubes. So the camera cube, the extra large that's getting released with this, we will have a review for that, so definitely check that out if you want more specifics on that. But it's designed to fit fully in here with the lid tucked under, so you can easily get to your gear, and then you can kind of utilize this for accessories and things like that. But I would say, like, in general, also if you don't want to use this at all, it doesn't just hang out like that. There's actually a cinch cord on this side that you can tighten, and then you just kind of have to deal with this, but it keeps these tucked out of the way. So I would say that's really like what's nice about this. The nicest thing about this bag is it really feels quality made, and there's a lot of customization in here without those features getting in the way, because I think a lot of bags, what they do is they kind of load a bunch of stuff in there, but then if you're not using the feature, it's just kind of taking up space that you could be using otherwise. But what's nice about any feature in this bag that I didn't personally need to use, there was somewhere else for it to go. So I think in terms of design, this is a super awesome first take from Peak Design, down to, you know, simple features such as like being able to remove the wheels and replace them if one of them breaks. But with the, you know, quality design that we're used to from Peak Design, in terms of quality build, combined with the actual features in here, I think it's a pretty solid first go at it. So there you have it, the Peak Design Roller Pro Carry-On. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel, and we'll see you in the next one.